On January 7th, 1943, a maid at the New Yorker hotel entered room 3327 and found the lifeless body of an 86-year-old man. For the last decade, this had been his home. Nikola Tesla, once one of the greatest inventors, died alone and penniless. His diet consisted of warm milk and crackers, and he spent his days feeding pigeons. How did such a brilliant mind end up in such a state? The answer lies in his life story, marked by triumphs and tragedies. Tesla was born on July 10, 1856, during a lightning storm in Smiljan, a town in present-day Croatia. According to legend, the midwife predicted, "This child will be a child of darkness." But his mother insisted, "No, he will be a child of light." These words would prove prophetic. At 5, Tesla witnessed his older brother's tragic death from a horsefall, a trauma that haunted him for life. From a young age, Tesla experienced vivid visions and flashes of light, blurring the line between reality and imagination. These visions fueled his ability to conceive intricate inventions in his mind without needing to sketch them out. In a 1919 article, he explained, "Invariably, my device works as I conceived it should, and the experiment comes out exactly as I planned it. In 20 years, there has not been a single exception." Tesla's mother, Juka Mandic, was his inspiration. She invented small household appliances and had an exceptional memory, traits she passed on to her son. Tesla's father, a priest, hoped Tesla would follow in his footsteps, but Tesla was drawn to engineering. When he contracted cholera as a teenager and nearly died, his father promised to send him to engineering school if he survived. Miraculously, Tesla did survive and went on to study at the Technical College of Graz in Austria, where he worked tirelessly, often from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. Professors feared for his health due to his intense work ethic. Tesla excelled in calculus and languages but never completed his degree. He dropped out, addicted to gambling, and cut ties with his family to hide his shame. His friends even thought he had drowned in a river. Tesla wandered through Europe, eventually landing in Budapest, where he worked as an electrician at a telephone company. One day, while strolling through a park, he had a revelation about generating electricity using alternating current, AC. This would become his greatest invention. In 1882, Tesla moved to Paris to work for the French branch of Thomas Edison's electric company. Starting with simple installations, he quickly impressed his superiors with his skills, taking on more complex tasks like designing dynamos and motors. In 1884, Tesla's manager offered him a job at Edison Machine Works in New York City. Tesla arrived in America with only 4 cents to his name, having been robbed during the journey. Initially, Tesla and Edison admired each other. Edison praised Tesla, saying, "I have had many hard-working assistants, but you take the cake." However, their friendship soured over a fundamental disagreement about electricity. Edison supported direct current DC, while Tesla advocated for alternating current AC. AC's ability to change direction periodically allowed for a more efficient and safer transmission of electricity over long distances, unlike DC, which was less efficient and limited in range. Edison, who held patents for DC, saw AC as a threat. According to Tesla, a manager at Edison's company promised him a $50,000 bonus if he could improve DC machines. When Tesla succeeded, the manager reneged on the deal. Edison reportedly quipped, "You don't understand our American humor." Disillusioned, Tesla quit and started his own electric company in 1885. However, his investors lost interest, taking the company and all of Tesla's patents, which he had exchanged for worthless stock. Broke and jobless, Tesla resorted to digging ditches for $2 a day. But his fortunes changed in 1887 when he invented an induction motor powered by AC. This motor was the most efficient means of converting electricity to mechanical power. A version of this motor is even used in modern Tesla vehicles, named in honor of the inventor. Tesla patented the motor and showcased it at the American Institute of Electrical Engineers in 1888. His invention caught the eye of George Westinghouse, a major figure in the electric industry, who saw Tesla's AC motor as the key to building a comprehensive AC system to rival Edison's DC. Tesla licensed the patents for the AC motor to Westinghouse for $60,000 and also received stock and royalties. Westinghouse hired him as a consultant for $2,000 a month, equivalent to over $50,000 a month today. Thus began the War of the Currents. Edison tried hard to discredit Westinghouse and Tesla. He secretly financed the electric chair that used alternating current to prove how dangerous AC was. Edison's company also publicly tortured animals to prove its point. In 1903, they electrocuted a circus elephant named Topsy and produced a film about it called Electrocuting an Elephant. Despite Edison's schemes, good things were happening for Westinghouse and Tesla. They underbid Edison and his newly formed company General Electric to illuminate the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893. The first all-electric fair celebrated the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America. It was clear to the 27 million people who attended that AC would power the future. Their success continued when they beat out Edison's General Electric again to build the world's first alternating current power plant in Niagara Falls. The hydroelectric power station was a massive success and helped light up Buffalo, New York. The building of the plant also meant Tesla became a pioneer in renewable energy. His statue can be found at Niagara Falls today. Westinghouse and Tesla won the war of the currents, and direct current was being phased out. But there were problems. Westinghouse's company was running out of money and eventually went $10 million into debt. In 1897, he went to Tesla and asked if his royalties could be reduced in a desperate attempt to save the company. Tesla was so compelled by compassion for his friend that he ripped up his contract. He was grateful to Westinghouse for believing in him when no one else would. Tesla willingly walked away from $12 million in royalties, which in today's terms would be worth over $300 million. Had he held on to those royalties over time, he would have likely become the wealthiest person on the planet and the first person with $1 billion net worth. That act of compassion for his friend saved Westinghouse. In return, Westinghouse paid Tesla $216,000 for the rights to use his AC patents forever. This is the equivalent of about $60 million today. With that money, Tesla became financially independent and set up a series of laboratories in New York for new projects. He was visited by the rich and famous, including his close friend and one of the greatest American writers of all time, Mark Twain. This was his period of many inventions. He held over 300 patents in his lifetime. He created an early version of neon lighting, the Tesla turbine, a bladeless turbine for vehicles. He pioneered X-ray technology by experimenting with radiation. This is an X-ray of his own hand. Another standout invention was one of the first remote controls. In 1898, he controlled a miniature boat at Madison Square Garden in New York. It was so far ahead of its time that the crowd thought he was using magic to make it move. That would be the ancestor of today's remote-controlled drones. One of his most well-known inventions is the Tesla coil, a device that can produce large amounts of high-voltage electricity. Because of the coils, he discovered he could send and receive powerful radio signals when they resonated at the same frequency. Tesla was getting ready to broadcast his first radio signal, but disaster struck. A fire destroyed his lab in 1895. He lost years of research and equipment. Tesla didn't apply for a patent for the radio until 2 years later. The fire would be the turning point in his life that led to a downhill spiral. At the same time, Tesla was working on radio. An Italian entrepreneur, Guglielmo Marconi, was also working on the radio in England. He used 17 of Tesla's patents to build his radio. But Marconi had powerful financial backers, including Thomas Edison and Andrew Carnegie. They helped him get the patent in 1904. Tesla sued, but Marconi's patent was upheld. Marconi then made the first transatlantic radio transmission in 1901, and Tesla famously said, "Marconi is a good fellow. Let him continue. He is using 17 of my patents." In 1943, Tesla would finally be credited with inventing the radio by the Supreme Court, but it was too late to benefit him. After losing the patent, Tesla started focusing on an invention called the magnifying transmitter. It was a large Tesla coil that he thought could transmit energy around the world without using wires. He managed to convince J.P. Morgan, a banker who was the richest man in America at the time, to give him $150,000, about $5 million today, to build a 185-foot tower on Long Island, New York. It was called the Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla was interested in the wireless transmission of electricity, but Morgan was more interested in the wireless transmission of radio and messages. When Morgan realized Tesla was building a wireless power system and not a radio tower, he stopped funding the project. To complete the tower, Tesla needed another $180,000, but nobody wanted to invest in it. Morgan, the man who gave Tesla the initial funding, allegedly said, "If anyone can draw on the power, where do we put the meter?" After struggling to get more funding, Tesla gave up on the project in 1906. It was never completed. He couldn't pay his debts and had a mental breakdown. Tesla struggled for the rest of his life. He moved from hotel to hotel in New York City, always leaving without paying his bill. He developed a pattern of compulsive behaviors and experienced health issues. He developed a phobia of germs, had an obsession with the number 3, and didn't want to touch anything that had human hair on it. By 1912, it was clear Tesla would never be the same. His best years were behind him, and his reputation was in ruins. When Marconi won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1909 for the radio, Tesla's obsession with developing a death ray began. Tesla wanted to create a death ray that would end all wars. He called it a teleforce weapon, which was supposedly a particle gun capable of shooting down airplanes and melting armies from 250 miles away. According to Tesla, the weapon would be based on charged particle beams. He explained that it would send concentrated beams of particles through the free air of such tremendous energy that they will bring down a fleet of 10,000 enemy airplanes at a distance of 250 miles. It was nicknamed the Peace Ray because it would be a defense against invasions. He said, "The mere existence of such a substance would prevent all wars." This concept weapon brought him back into the public eye. But Tesla didn't build it because he couldn't get any investors. In 1934, Tesla tried to sell the idea to Western European countries, and even J.P. Morgan's son. Everyone declined to invest. He also tried to sell it to the Soviet Union, But the Soviet authorities didn't pursue the project either. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, kept an eye on him to ensure he didn't sell the idea to other countries. The U.S. government was worried the device might end up in the wrong hands. During the last years of his life, Tesla had a small group of followers, mostly his closest friends. He claimed he had created a way to transmit 1,000,000 horsepower around the Earth using a device the size of a suitcase. But that technology was never realized. There was also a rumor that he was working on a space weapon called the Death Star that could focus solar energy into a super laser beam. This has never been proven. In 1937, Tesla was hit by a taxi in New York City and never fully recovered. He stopped working on new inventions and became more withdrawn, frequently meeting with journalists, mainly to celebrate his birthday. He passed away on January 7, 1943, in his hotel room. He was found by the maid. Nikola Tesla lived a lonely life and was poor when he died. He never married, believing that would interfere with his work. He said, "I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by married men." After his death, the U.S. government seized all of Tesla's belongings from his hotel room. They packed everything up and sent it to a storage unit in Manhattan. The Office of Alien Property even had a special agent come in to analyze Tesla's work to make sure there was no dangerous technology. That special agent was a well-known MIT professor who knew about radio waves, microwaves, and other physics concepts. His name was John G. Trump, the uncle of former President Donald Trump. He went through Tesla's notes and concluded there was nothing to worry about. Everything was eventually sent back to Tesla's family, and his nephew shipped everything to the Tesla Museum in Belgrade, Serbia. His ashes can still be found there today. Nikola Tesla may have died alone and poor, but he left behind a legacy that has changed the world. From alternating current to the radio, many of his inventions were ahead of their time and laid the foundation for modern technology. His story is a testament to the challenges and sacrifices that can come with being a visionary. While he may not have received the recognition he deserved during his lifetime, his contributions continue to be celebrated and remembered today. Thanks for watching the story of Nikola Tesla. I hope you enjoyed and liked it. Please subscribe to my channel. See you soon.